Once I remembered that Kevin Spacey was in this movie, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be awkward. But then, maybe it'll be all right. He won't be my favorite character in the whole fucking movie or anything like that, because that would be incredibly weird if that happened, and that would certainly be a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. LA Confidential is the 1997 neo-noir murder mystery that takes place right here in Los Angeles in the early 1950s. This was directed by Curtis Hanson, whose last well-known project before he tragically passed away in 2016 was the Eminem vehicle 8 Mile. This film was nominated for a whole bunch of Academy Awards, winning 2. First for Adapted Screenplay, and a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Kim Basinger, which, if you've seen the movie, is well-deserved. She was amazing. And just to peel back the Band-Aid a little bit and get the weird shit out of the way, I think by now we all know about the alleged crimes that Kevin Spacey has committed, which are horrifying, and certainly if you feel like reading about them, definitely feel free to do so. I'm not going to be talking about them here, but beyond that, he's just a deeply, deeply strange man, which unfortunately has served him well as an actor, because I kind of have to say it, he's fantastic in this movie.
What the hell did you just say?
He was my favorite character, and his arc is probably the most satisfying arc I've seen in a movie in a long time. He definitely sucks as a human, but this movie is really good, and he is really good in it, and I kind of hate myself for saying that. I probably don't need to tell you how good Kim Basinger was in this, because she has an Oscar to prove it, but it was a really impressive performance from her. She absolutely owned this role and the complexities of it, and was just able to slip into that time period with little to no effort. Now, just to talk about myself a little bit and how I work, my brain is always kind of thinking when I'm watching something about other connections with movies and shows, and some of those kind of popped into my head because of all these character actors. The very first scene, the FBI agent from the Martin Lawrence movie Blue Streak, it knocks on some person's door, and it was just like one scene, and I'm like, hey, it's the dude from Blue Streak.
Oh, okay, I get it. Sort of walk the walk.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to look, act, and even think like a criminal.
And then a couple minutes after that, there's this drunk fat detective that is Russell Crowe's partner, and I was like, hey, it's the other dude from Blue Streak.
My office just spent the last hour talking to West Covina and to the U.S. Attorney's Office, trying to find out just who the hell it is you're working for. Now we know it's not the Bureau. I think it's time that you gave us an explanation.
I'm a federale.
A federale?
Oh. Because he plays the captain in that movie, and it's one of my favorite movies. Exciting stuff, I know, right? You guys are loving this. Riveting. But there was also one of the suspects in the cafe shooting when they were interrogating them that was the Olympic runner from an episode of Seinfeld where, like, Jerry slept in and, the guy missed his Olympic trials. And
8:47! Come on, just put your clothes on, you'll get dressed in the car! Idiot, I trusted you! Couldn't what happened in the building? The electricity went out?
Yeah, the heat pump blew all the fuses.
What happened to your mental alarm?
Well, I guess I hit the snooze.
Yeah, I forget his name in that. And then there's the guy that plays Lloyd Braun from Seinfeld.
Here you go.
What?
Yeah, $100 worth.
I gave you $100?
You sure did. Am I crazy, or is that a lot of gum?
It's a lot of gum!
He was there doing the Dragnet type show, which I'll talk more about later. And look, if you guys haven't clicked away at this point, you're probably wondering what kind of an idiot watches a multiple Oscar-winning film like this one, and he's standing here talking about Blue Streak and Seinfeld and Martin Lawrence. This idiot, that's me. So, hi, hello, thanks for checking this out. With all that in mind, I would like to share some scattered thoughts that I jotted down during my watch in no particular order. First, I really love the fact that everyone had their own arc and didn't have to take away from one character in order to lift up another one. Every one of the main characters had reasonable motivations for them to become the people they became, and kind of how they ended up abandoning themselves in order to make things right in their own world was pretty compelling. A couple of examples would be how Guy Pearce's overconfidence led him right into a trap where he ended up murdering a bunch of innocent guys, kind of becoming the exact type of cop that he promised himself that he would never be at the very beginning of the film. Similarly, when it was well established through his actions and honestly some really decently done exposition that Russell Crowe's character was so fiercely protective of women, which they established right off the bat because of what happened to his mother when he was a child, and then later on to, hit Kim Basinger's character multiple times when he was, having this rage over her infidelity, kind of then becoming the very thing that he despised. It was really cool to see Danny DeVito in a role like this, especially after seeing him almost exclusively in It's Always Sunny for the past 20 years now.
Jesus Christ, Frank, are you cutting your toenails with a steak knife?
I suppose you have a problem with that, too.
Botched toe. I botched that one. Oh, that's a botched job. That's bleeding. I need some trash to plug up the cut.
He was great. He fit the role of this kind of smarmy tabloid editor to a T. Absolutely perfect casting. The show within the movie thing, that they were doing like a Dragnet thing with this show called Badge of Honor, kind of taking the place of the real Dragnet, which was an actual show from the 1950s. And the first example of a police procedural and, what we now kind of lovingly refer to as propaganda. That was kind of interesting. And they even threw in a version of Just the Facts, Ma'am, which was the catchphrase from that show, the real show, Dragnet. And I just watched The Nice Guys again the other day, that movie, and Kim Basinger and Russell Crowe are in that film together. And I noticed that, and then I came back and watched this, and I was like, did they meet on this movie? And then they worked together then? That was kind of cool. Lots of Aussies in this.
Well then, good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, Simon Baker from The Mentalist is in this. There's probably more that were smaller roles. And I wanted to share one scene that I thought was just fucking hilarious. There's a scene where Guy Pearce goes to the coroner after the Simon Baker character sleeps with the DA and gets killed. And the coroner says, and this is the line, quote, unemployed actor had Frankfurter, French fries, alcohol, and sperm, in his stomach. And they didn't say that, though. And the funniest part is that, the whole, alcohol, Frankfurter, and sperm, that was the whole line. And then they realized that when they were editing that it was fucking weird. And so they did ADR where the coroner then says hell of a last meal, isn't it? And you can tell that they did that after the fact because when you watch the movie, the coroner's mouth isn't moving. So I thought that was very funny. One of the best scenes in the film, and the scene that really took it home for me for Kevin Spacey's performance, was when Guy Pearce was telling him about his dad getting killed. And then he asked Kevin Spacey why he became a cop. And he was like, I don't remember. That was really powerful. The end of the movie reminded me of the music video Freak on a Leash by Korn with all the bullet holes. And all the light coming through. Remember that? With the bullet. Boom, ba ba doom, ba ba dee da. Go! But anyway, I really did enjoy this one. I don't think it was a masterpiece. Certainly, I know a lot of people do. Because I have some things that I have nitpicks about. And they're not big nitpicks, but I wanted to throw them out there anyway. It seemed really out of left field that after Russell Crowe's character told Kim Basinger's character that he wasn't, quote, smart enough to solve the cafe murders. And then all of a sudden, several other characters were commenting about he's a dumb guy and talking about his intelligence when he starts piecing some things together, which would have been fine if they had established that the Russell Crowe character wasn't a smart person, but they didn't. Brash, sure. Kind of a blood instrument at times. Totally fair. Lazy, corrupt, I'll give that to you. I'll give that all to you. But the writers never set him up as being dumb. And considering how easy it would have been to do that, or just paint him as aloof rather than dumb, I'm confused as to why they decided to just all of a sudden kind of shove that down our collective throats. I mean, it seemed weird. And I appreciate the vulnerability in him kind of questioning his own intelligence, which is certainly a compelling reason to not try to achieve greatness. But that whole narrative choice, the dumb thing, just really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then James Cromwell, who played the captain, he had this weird kind of Irish brogue that he kept kind of slipping out of and trying to throw in slang terms. And it was half Irish, half American, which I suppose that what they were trying to show is that maybe he was a first generation American because this happened in the 1950s and somebody of his age would still be maybe connected to his homeland and, have some of that kind of way of speaking, but it didn't work. I mean, it seems like a cool idea, but it didn't work well.
I did something right. I did something bad, right? Should I know what it is?
And lastly, I was looking up how much $50 is in the 1950s compared to now, because in the movie, the Danny DeVito character is able to manipulate the Kevin Spacey character and really many others with that amount of money. And it's only a little over $600 today, which is like, look, there's a lot of stuff I would do for $600, but I'm not too sure I'd be like fucking throw down on conspiracy and murder, especially if it seems like I was doing okay financially already, because Kevin Spacey's like wearing nice jackets and shit, and he's like kind of, you know, swaggering around, and he's like this suave kind of dude. He didn't look like he was hard up for money. So that's like another thing. Like, why would he like put himself at such a risk for such a small amount of money? And at the end of the day,
So the movie can happen. Oh, okay, gotcha.
anyway, that's my review of LA Confidential from seeing it for the first time. Really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, not perfect, but definitely deserved the Oscars that it won. 100%. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have all seen it. If you haven't, definitely go check it out. If you have seen it, comment, tell me what your favorite thing about it is, or all the ways that I was wrong, because people love doing that shit, but I don't mind. I enjoy having those conversations. So yeah, just kind of throw that down there. Tell me what you think. And yeah, we'll do this again sometime. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers.